So, you want to own a casino. Not a poker night in your garage. A real one. Neon on the strip, a name people say out loud, whales flying in on your dime, and a house edge quietly working in your favor 24 hours a day. That's the picture. Free money machine, dealt by mathematics itself. Here's what nobody tells you before you build it. The casino isn't really selling gambling, it's selling a license. And that license might be the most artificially scarce, most fought-over piece of paper in American business. Let's start there, because it explains everything else. Unlike a restaurant, you cannot simply open a casino because you have the capital. Every state that allows gambling caps the number of licenses available, sometimes at a literal fixed number that never changes. In New York, 3 long-awaited downstate casino licenses drew applications from developers offering to spend upward of $8 billion each, just for a shot at winning one. Not building the casino, just applying to be considered for the right to build it. Get denied, and that money is gone. Get approved, and you've paid a fortune before you've poured a single foundation. Say you win the license. Now you have to build the thing, and modern casino resorts are not cheap buildings with slot machines in them. They are cities. The Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas cost roughly $4 billion to build. Resorts World Las Vegas came in around $4.3 billion. You're not just building a gaming floor, you're building thousands of hotel rooms, a dozen restaurants, a theater, a spa, a convention center, and parking, for tens of thousands of cars, because the gaming floor alone was never designed to carry the whole business. And before a single card gets dealt, regulators require you to build an entire compliance apparatus most industries never touch. Anti-money laundering monitoring on every transaction. Background checks on every employee who touches cash. Surveillance systems recording every square foot of the gaming floor, around the clock. That alone can run tens of millions of dollars a year, forever, whether the casino is profitable or not. Now you're open. Here's where the myth and the math actually diverge. Everyone assumes the casino makes its money purely off the house edge, that mathematical advantage baked into every game. Blackjack might only give the house a 1 to 2% edge. Roulette sits around 5.25%. Slot machines, the real engine of the industry, run anywhere from 4 to 15%, quietly, machine after machine, all day. That edge is real, but on its own it's razor thin. What actually moves the needle is volume and one specific type of customer, the whale. A high-stakes gambler who might wager tens of millions of dollars across a single trip. Casinos will fly these players in on private jets, comp their suites, their meals, sometimes extend lines of credit worth $50 million, purely on the bet that the house edge, applied across enough hands, eventually wins out. It usually does, except when it doesn't. In the early 2000s, a single high-rolling gambler was reported to have won or lost tens of millions of dollars in a single sitting, more than once. And a swing like that, in either direction, can move an entire quarter's earnings for a casino. Comping a whale isn't hospitality. It's underwriting a bet the size of a hospital's annual budget, and betting that math beats emotion. Most nights it does, some nights it very much does not. Now for the trap that has bankrupted more casino operators than bad luck ever has: leverage. Building a $4 billion resort almost never happens with cash. It happens with debt, layered on debt, often at brutal interest rates because lenders know exactly how volatile this business is. Every single day that resort sits there, the interest clock is running, whether the gaming floor is packed or empty. Which brings us to Revel. In 2012, a $2.4 billion casino resort opened on the Atlantic City boardwalk. 57 stories, nearly 1,400 rooms, a design meant to rival anything in Las Vegas. It was supposed to be the building that pulled Atlantic City out of its slow decline. It lasted 2 years before its first bankruptcy filing. It filed for bankruptcy a second time in 2014. In 2015, it sold at auction for $82 million, about 3 cents on every dollar it cost to build. What actually killed it wasn't one bad decision. It was the same trap running underneath this entire episode. Atlantic City's gambling revenue had been sliding for years as neighboring states legalized their own casinos, cutting directly into a customer base that used to have nowhere else to go. Revel opened anyway, betting on a turnaround that never came, carrying debt payments that didn't care whether the tables were full. Every month, the casino generated less than its fixed obligations required, and every month that gap compounded. Within 2 years, one of the most expensive buildings ever constructed on the East Coast was worth less than an NFL stadium's naming rights deal. Compare that to a man who understood the other side of this business completely, Steve Wynn. Before Wynn, Las Vegas casinos were built to be forgettable. Dark, low-ceilinged rooms designed purely to keep you at a slot machine. Wynn's insight was that the building itself could be the attraction. The Mirage, then Bellagio, then Wynn Las Vegas. Each one built as a destination people would pay to simply walk through, whether or not they gambled a single dollar. The Bellagio's fountains alone became one of the most photographed sites in America, at a cost of tens of millions of dollars, functioning as a permanent advertisement running 24 hours a day, for free. Wynn didn't outgamble anyone. He understood that in a business this capital-intensive, the real moat isn't the odds on the table. It's giving people a reason to show up, even when they lose. So let's run the actual numbers the way an operator has to. The good year, your resort is running at healthy occupancy, your hotel rooms and restaurants are profitable in their own right, your whale program is disciplined, meaning you're not extending credit past what your reserves can absorb, and your gaming floor is pulling a blended house edge across every game of around 6 to 8% on total volume wagered. On a mid-size regional casino handling $500 million in annual bets, that's tens of millions in gross gaming revenue. After paying staff, marketing, debt service, and the state's gaming tax, which in some states runs past 50% of gross gaming revenue, you're still walking away with a real, if thin, profit margin. The bad year, a recession hits, and discretionary spending, which is exactly what gambling is, dries up first. A neighboring state legalizes its own casino and siphons off your regional customer base permanently, the way it did to every casino in Atlantic City. One whale has a historically good run at your tables and walks away with an 8-figure win that erases a quarter's profit in a single weekend. Meanwhile, your debt payments on that $4 billion building do not care about any of it. They're due on the first of the month, regardless. That's the entire business condensed into one sentence. A casino is not a house that always wins. It's a fixed, enormous cost structure, betting that the math wins out faster than the debt collects. Most of the time, it does. Revel is the proof of what happens the year it doesn't.